A divorced new immigrant finds a new purpose in life thanks to Tzu Chi volunteers' assistance. We follow an apple farmer to look into the feasibility of farming in the mountains. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. Tzu Chi held a two-day free clinic in Xochimilco, Mexico. Although the volunteers could only provide temporary medical treatment, the patients were deeply touched.
I am one of the many affected residents on September 19th. At that time, Tzu Chi Foundation helped us, and they also gave us bamboo coin banks. Now that the foundation is back in Xochimilco, we can give back the filled coin bank to them.
I'm a acupuncturist. I'm supposed to reach out to people. Most of patients has that neck pain, knee issue, low pain.
I came here looking for help, but unfortunately the condition that I have, the free clinic is not equipped to treat me. But I received a lot of love and care from volunteers and even got a parting gift.
But I know his nerve is damaged. But when I look at his hand, you know it's a really chronic. There's not much we can do.
They tried to cheer me up, and that is why I'm so grateful. We did fight for it, didn't we?
The only thing I can do is I ask my helper to comfort him. At least he knows someone cares.
My kids were sick. They had a cold and a lot of sputum. Then we decided to come because they said there were doctors here.
When I had a belly ache, it was very painful. The woman that gave the medicine told me to have 1 pill a day.
And the fever will go down after the medicine.
I worked as a nurse for 46 years, and I don't want to waste my experience and my knowledge just sitting at home. So I want to come out and help people, and I know there's such a need everywhere in the world. We fill the prescriptions and explain to them how to use the medicine, how often, what the side effects might be. Tzu Chi is my favorite organization because I love how respectful they are to everyone, not just to each other, but to the people coming for help.
To be involved with other people's way of thinking and way of behaving, it makes me feel nice.
This is the paper they gave me. And here, I have my little book.
In Taichung, Taiwan, there's a new immigrant named Wen Shuzhen from Thailand who married into a Taiwanese family. The marriage ended up in divorce, and she became very isolated. Tzu Chi volunteers heard about her situation and helped her find her new home to settle into. They also gave her a purpose in life by working at the recycling station.
I was lucky that she came into my life and took me to go see the doctor. She really lends me a hand.
Her health has always been very unstable. She needed to go see a doctor, but transportation was an issue. So I took it upon myself to devote my love and care for her to solve all her everyday issues. It was my duty to make sure she was doing all right, despite all the obstacles.
I'm not sure if I can carry it all. It's all recyclable goods. They need to go to the recycling center. They all came from a local Thai restaurant. It's my way of giving back to Tzu Chi.
I had introduced her to many job opportunities before, but now the employers want to hire her. They thought that she was a slow learner, and when it came to numbers, she had a lot of difficulties. All of this is due to the fact that she had a stroke before. So I thought, why don't we bring her to the recycling center as a way for her to get constant physical therapy? She said yes, and that was the start of a beautiful journey. Every day between 6 to 7 a.m., she reports to the recycling center full of joy.
Yes, I feel so much better health-wise. I've made a lot of friends here. Everyone treats me really well here, and I'm no longer alone. It feels like I'm truly a member of a big family.
Tzu Chi U.S. Headquarters Mobile Food Pantry held its monthly fresh fruit distribution at the Alhambra High School in Alhambra, California. Let's join them there.
After fresh fruits and vegetables were laid out, Tzu Chi volunteers started their food distribution at the Alhambra High School. All kinds of fruits and vegetables, which can sustain a family for 1 month, have been packed in bags or boxes, along with cooking oil, seasoning, and canned goods. Without the carts, they cannot be moved with only one person's strength. Knowing that Tzu Chi comes regularly to help the disadvantaged population, local students volunteer to help at events. Some of them assisted in the distribution, some directed the route, and others acted as vegetarian ambassadors. One Korean-American student helped a Chinese-American grandmother carry her supplies for her.
It is really hard. It was hard. The box was really heavy, and when I saw the lady, I was really worried because it was a huge box and she had this.
After making several turns and going through different streets, the volunteers finally arrived at the grandmother's apartment. Esther Park, who does not understand Mandarin, continues to help the grandmother move her supplies to her home without any hesitation, as she feels happy serving people in need.
After many years of development, Taiwan's mountainous areas have seen a great deal of farming. Many are criticizing these agricultural practices as leading to problems in soil and water conservation and pesticide use. Today we visit Lishan, where a 70-year-old woman is carrying out organic farming.
After Lunar New Year passed, taking away the last of the cold stream air, fresh sunshine comes to this area once again. Wang Yulan, who is a farmer in Lishan, takes us on County Road 8A, which is near the summit of Xinjiang. Walking along this path, the slope gets steeper up the mountain. It takes about an hour and a half to reach the orchard. Looking around, the entire Xinjiang area offers panoramic views, and you can see many places are cabbage fields. Wang Yulan came here 40 years ago when she married her husband. They planted apples and her husband was a porter. Both jobs helped supplement their family income. Picking 100 caddy of fruit and carrying it down the mountain earns them just a meager income of $1.5 US. After some 40 years, most of the orchards along the road have closed.
This area all used to be fruit trees. Looking back, a lot has really changed.
This area used to be a major place for pear and apple production. Now it is the top place for the production of high-altitude temperate vegetables.
Fruit trees are susceptible to climate change and are hard to care for. They are prone to diseases, and when a typhoon hits, we can't harvest them in time. This led many people to switch to farming cabbage due to faster harvest time.
While the mountains should offer beautiful scenery, farming here is anything but romantic. The because lots of pesticides are sprayed on these cabbage fields and the smell is quite pungent. After Taiwan opened the market to foreign imports of apples and pears, the price of these fruits from Lisan collapsed. Wang Yulan remembers back to this time when many cleared their orchards to plant vegetables suited to this temperate climate. However, Wang Yulan and her husband couldn't bear to cut down their apple trees to plant cabbage, despite the changing environment.
The root of the cabbage is relatively shallow, so there's no way to keep the soil. We're cultivating these fruits which help maintain the soil. With lots of imported fruits coming in, they're cutting down a lot of trees. So from this period onwards, we decided to farm without any pesticides.
This kind of farming life is actually quite difficult. If you don't spray with chemicals, you have to simply rely upon manpower.
We've been here for 40 years now. I've never sprayed any herbicide. Every year we have to fight these weeds. But when you cut them and leave them on the ground, they turn into organic matter. If it rains, other people's fields are covered in muddy water, but the water here is clear.
Following organic farming concepts, their apples are much smaller with a number of insects eating them, with the skin also affected.
You can see that we don't use any pesticides. If fruit flies bites it, the whole thing will be ruined, so we don't spray anything. This is rotten because it rained too much before.
While picking these apples, Wang Yulan also inspects the trees, and if the branches are too sick, they are cut off.
Because we do not use pesticides when we encounter pests, we drill a hole and saw off branches and spray a little bit with camphor oil. Now you can see that this tree has returned to its healthy state.
After the death of an apple tree, the empty area is converted to planting pears, peaches, peppers, and a variety of vegetables.
Over there, we're growing some baby cabbage and some other vegetables for our own consumption. Are we growing some cabbage? Yes, we are. Do I dare eat the other cabbage that people grow? No, I don't, because I can only trust my own produce.
This type of farming has a small harvest, but with high costs. The only thing they can do is to be sold by the farmer themselves to recoup the costs.
Here I'm sorting the large and small fruits. Sometimes I mix it all up by accident.
Wang Yulan says that the work is tiring, but she feels at peace with her produce.
Our life is only made up of just a few short decades, so if we can look after our health and do meaningful work, then it is all worth it.
While many people talk about cutting back on pesticides and doing organic farming, few actually follow through due to the difficulties. However, after 40 years of implementation and observation, we can see many positive results. After we leave the orchard and take a look back, we can see her plot of land is very different from the other vegetable and tea gardens.
If this land is gone, we'll not be able to plant here. Therefore, we must first protect the land and consider the impacts before we can fully say our produce is well kept.
While many are quick to criticize farmers who cause hillside destruction, in the case of Wang Yulan, we must take another viewpoint and potentially consider a proper dialogue to discuss a way forward for the future. Farming in the mountains is very hard, and we must make adjustments and do as much as we can to live in harmony with nature.
In Cambodia, Tzu Chi volunteers hosted an aid distribution and free clinic at Danker landfill, followed by a volunteer training course.
Cambodia Tzu Chi volunteers just ended the distribution and free clinic at the landfill. No time to rest, they immediately started their second volunteer training the next day.
Although our home is small, it has everything. Our humanistic culture will definitely be good so that people can feel at home here. Each one of you just needs to bring a person to come home often, and we will be here waiting for you anytime, okay?
Receiving a gray uniform means to carry on the responsibility given by it.
Today, coming to Tzu Chi training class, I felt that these volunteers really are helping others personally, and I've come to understand that everyone serves selflessly.
The 11 Tzu Chi volunteers from Singapore come to teach the class and practice their teaching physically as they help to clean Tzu Chi's first office in Cambodia. The journey has ended with blessing and joy.
In the aftermath of Cyclone Nargis 10 years ago, Tzu Chi volunteers traveled to Myanmar to carry out aid distributions at 2 temples. 10 years later, Tzu Chi volunteers returned to the village to visit these old friends.
အရင်တော့လက်တွဲခဲ့တဲ့တငယ်ချင်းတယောက်ပြန်တွေ့ရတယ်ဆိုတော့ခုတော့အခုလေကာလာကလည်းပြန်ရောက်လာတာလေနိုးကြကာလာကိုပြန်ရောက်လာတော့
In the aftermath of Cyclone Nargis in 2008, the first disaster relief team carried out aid distribution here. This is one of the distribution venues. Let's go inside the temple.
Ten years ago, the trees here have fallen. Now the area is covered with trees. Despite the passage of time, the old memories remain vivid.
Back then, the villagers gathered here and we introduced the origin of Tzu Chi to them.
How's everyone 10 years later? The devastation caused by the cyclone has left its mark in the minds of many people. One Dharma master who was skinny back then looks older now.
In just more than 10 days after Cyclone Nargis struck, you Tzu Chi volunteers came here to distribute supplies.
We then returned here to distribute stationery and rice seedlings. Back then, this village chief saw us in this uniform. He happily showed us the pictures of us carrying out the aid distribution. Yes, we know the Dharma master must know a way to find him. Can you find him for us?
Can he find a person? Is he still healthy? Finally, we see the familiar face. They recall the past experience. Although Cyclone Nargis brought devastation, the experience made people stronger.
I did not imagine that they would come to our village to visit us 10 years later. Back then, as soon as Tzu Chi volunteers arrived at the temple, I rushed over there.
They're friends with whom we went through some difficult times. As the rain season approaches, when we see Ji Xuan, we are reminded of the time when Tzu Chi volunteers came.
Back then, he brought us over here. We were able to come to the village thanks to him. As we return to the village today, the roads and houses are completely different.
The picture of the distribution has become a precious treasure. During the hot drought season, as these old friends visit, May has become a special time for them all.
Back in 2008, when the first disaster relief team came to Yangon to deliver aid supplies, we were surprised to find the crowd here.
The supply recipients had increased dramatically from more than 300 households to 1,879 families. The first disaster relief team not only had to deal with the large number of supply recipients, they also had to face adverse weather. It rained heavily when the distribution was carried out. The Dharma master who provided the distribution venue still remembers how Tzu Chi volunteers prop up tarp to protect everyone from the rain.
There were a lot of people here. People all clasped their palms together. There were a lot of familiar faces. I'll never forget Tzu Chi. Back then, the village chief did not allow them to carry out the distribution, but the villagers listened to us and cooperated. Therefore, we were able to conduct the distribution smoothly.
9 volunteers completed the distribution for more than 1,800 households, making a historical record. As Tzu Chi volunteers distributed rice seedlings and food, they've also brought hope for the villagers who can now pursue a better future. The year following the SARS outbreak in 2003, Singapore's The Courage Fund started to award outstanding medical professionals. This year's award recipients include Tzu Chi volunteer Dr. Edwin Lim.
Very warm welcome to the Healthcare Humanity Awards 2018.
The 15th Annual Healthcare Humanity Awards is aimed at acknowledging and thanking all the outstanding medical professionals and volunteers in Singapore.
As a medical professional, we should treat others as equals. We should, to the best of our abilities, treat our patients as if they are our own family members.
Dr. Edwin Lim Hun Hao, Buddhist Compassion Relief Tzu Chi Foundation.
TIMA Singapore chapter has been established for 19 years now. Since opening the Tzu Chi Free Clinic Center in 2008, Dr. Edwin Lim has been serving the community for over 15 years now. The target population is for the community's elderly and disadvantaged families. All services are free of charge at the center.
As a TIMA member, we are not only doctors treating illnesses, but we are also saviors of the mind and soul. I've been working in Tzu Chi for so long. The biggest change is I have truly learned how to be in the patient's shoes when they come in for a visit, to really understand what they are going through, so in turn, I can properly treat their ailments.
The interactions between the doctor and the patient is a delicate balance with empathy and compassion in the middle of it all. Mutual respect and understanding goes a long way toward a better well-being.
As more people experience pain problems, Mennonite Christian Hospital has released an exercise teaching video. Let's take a look. Mennonite Christian Hospital has made a sports teaching video for people who face pain problems. The hospital hopes that people can follow the video and do exercises at home to take care of their health.
The doctor told me to follow the video and do exercises in the mornings and afternoons. After exercising, my muscles became stronger and I feel less pain. I've stopped taking painkillers.
Many people face the problems of degenerating waist and neck because of improper postures, lack of muscle strength, and overuse. They need to pay attention in daily life.
The basic solution to treating the pain is to maintain good posture and exercise to strengthen our muscles.
If the pain persists, one needs to seek medical attention immediately. To treat pain problem, taking proper medication and exercising are very important. Tzu Chi volunteers in Taipei have made a model of the earth with recycled PET bottles, which will be displayed at upcoming Tri-Celebration. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.